It was a year and a half ago on March 14th of 2021 that I published my first Rack of the Week video. Back then I had facial hair and glasses, and I used these little graphical circles and arrows to mark up the pool table as I was talking. And I had this Cracking Racks intro. Then it was Rack of the Week number 31, where I began using the Epic Pen software to kind of scribble on top of the table instead of the circles and arrows, and I think that works great. The first year anniversary Rack of the Week number 52, we featured the best player ever, Efren Reyes. And shortly after, Rack of the Week number 60 was my 60th birthday, and I started wearing my contact lenses again instead of glasses. And just a week or two later, I started going clean shaven. Rack of the Week number 61, I had a new intro featuring the Satori flat rack. And shortly after that, it was when Jason Shaw ran the record 714 balls, and we had a feature Rack of the Week showing Jason. This week is Rack of the Week number 77, and there's a little bit of a new look. I'm going to show a little picture-in-picture as I'm commentating on the rack. Thank you to YouTuber Little Chris for that idea. I like it, and let's get into the rack. Welcome to this week's Rack of the Week. Got a little bit of an outside angle on the break shot. Actually, it's probably pretty parallel. Right through the ghost ball is right there. So I'm just shooting below center. I'm expecting to hit the 15 ball full or on the bottom side. So I don't want a lot of draw, but just a below center. Hopefully the cue ball will go to the side rail and stay under control. Yeah, that's a pretty standard shot. You can see the cue ball has a lot of spin on it. That's contact-induced spin, and that's going to, a lot of time that's going to happen. It's going to spin it to the bottom rail and over. So real standard result from this break shot, and actually a really good result. If you look at the rack area, the head spots here, there's no, or foot spots there, there's no balls really in the triangle. Just a little cluster here, and none of them are touching, so I don't need to re-break the rack. It's going to be real easy to just reopen this, or just nudge those balls a little bit. Then what I see immediately is that getting a low angle on this 14 ball will let me send the cue ball up into those balls. Not hard, just soft, nudge them open a little bit, and then I've got the 10 ball back this way as an insurance ball. So that's a really routine, common opening right after a break shot, something that you want to take notice of right away. And then I think I'm a little bit thin on this 14, so I'm going to shoot the 9 first, just kind of draw the cue ball back above the 10. And also the 9 I think is kind of blocking the 10, so I don't really have an insurance ball until I remove that 9. So this looks real good. I'm a little bit thinner than I wanted to be on this. I take that back. I'm a little thicker. I'm a little bit straight in on this 14. I could still hit it pretty hard and send the cue ball up into that 5, but I'd rather not. Things could get out of control there. And what I noticed right away is that I can just let the cue ball go forward, and it's going to hit the bottom side of the 6. Hopefully, I'm trying to knock it in this direction, just like to here, and create a second possible break ball. Now, the 11 ball might be a break ball as well, depending on what happens with this cluster, but anytime you can manufacture another break ball, as John Schmidt has said, you can't have too many break balls. So that's what I see, and it's also really safe because if the cue ball hits the bottom side of the 6, it should go this way, and I've just got a simple shot on the 7. 7 is an insurance ball coming back that way. If the cue ball doesn't move that way, I'll have my shot on the 10. So, you know, just like that. So that's not quite where I wanted the 6, but hey, who's complaining? That's a good result. I think I'm too thin on the 7. It's really a mistake to come off the 7 into that 5. The cue ball could go this way behind the 6. It could go up in the side pocket. It can go a lot of bad places. That's not a real well-controlled shot. Don't shoot that if you don't have to. So I'm just going to tap the 10 in. I'm trying to get the same angle I had on the 14 on the 5 so I can shoot the 5 and send the cue ball up into these. Now, I look at this for a moment because what I'd love to do is send the cue ball into the 11, because if I can just nudge the 11 over here, now I've got a third break ball, potential break ball. The problem with that shot is I could end up frozen right behind the 4, and now my only shot's going to be a thin cut on the 7. So let's not do that. So I'm looking, and I realize pretty quickly that both of these balls are insurance balls right into the side pocket. So instead of going directly into the 11, I'm going to send the cue ball up into the 4 first. The cue ball's not going to move very far at all, and I'm going to have one of these insurance balls in the side if I don't have a better shot somewhere else. Okay, decision made, executes, really Minimal cue ball movement, that's what we want. So what a great result. I now have 3 potential break balls. I've got an insurance ball on the side, and then I really like, this is kind of a pattern that I see very, very often. You're going to have a ball on the rail here with a ball in the side pocket. So that side pocket is a key ball. So I should shot the 2 to set myself up for the 8. And then I'm about ready to shoot the 8, and I'm looking at the table and thinking, wait a minute, let's take another look. And so I spend a bit of time over here studying the layout. And the first thing I want to do is make sure that that one ball is out of the rack. And it is. So I'm going to come over here and take a closer look before I shoot. You know, there's probably 101 different ways to clear the table from here. But as soon as I shot the shot that nudged the 4 and the 11 over, the rack was solved. There is no more trouble on this table. And I'm in the end pattern, even though, let's see, 4, 5, there's 9 balls on the table, and I'm definitely in the end pattern. Really was in the end pattern before I shot the 2. So you want to make more firm decisions from here. Now, like I said, there's 101 ways to run it, and then I've got 3 break balls. So there's probably 35 ways to run this table to get on each of those 3 break balls. So instead of just starting to shoot and clearing balls without putting much thought into it, let's come up with a plan. Our plan can always change, and it probably will change, but you've got to have a plan to start. So I'm getting in the habit now of being more specific at this point in the rack. Whether there's 5 balls left or 10 balls left, be more specific. And I think it made a huge difference here, and here's why. The 6 and the, is it the 15 or the 11, whichever, this stripe. The 6 and this stripe don't have a great key ball. There's no great key ball up into the side pocket. Certainly it can be done in a bunch of ways, but we're looking for that 100% positional route. Now, one possibility which comes up quite a lot in straight pool is 6 ball is the break ball, 4 ball is the key ball, and the 7 is the K2. Because if you clear all these balls, perhaps this stripe is your 4th to last ball, and you can get a shot in this corner. Any kind of an angle on the 7, you can just tap it in and get right here, and you're real good on that key ball on the side. That's a good pattern. I'm not going to argue with anybody who decides to shoot that route. I've done that a million times. But I'm going to use the 1 ball because I've got 2 key balls directly above the 1. So that's what I'm committing to. That's the plan that I'm looking at. It can change, but that's the plan I'm making my decisions towards. So if one of these is the key ball and I want to shoot one of them into this side pocket, I'm looking for my K2 in the other direction and it isn't there. So let's do the other way. What if I shoot my key ball to the left? Do I have a K2 ball to the right? And of course I do. It's the 8 ball. So how am I going to get on the 8 ball? That's the difference that I've been trying to incorporate in my game a lot lately. Don't just look at key ball and K2. Find your K3 and maybe even a K4. What is the ball I'm going to use to get on the 8, and what ball am I going to use to get on that ball? So one possibility would be to clear all these balls and again get an angle on the 7, because then you can just roll forward and you have an easy shot on the 8 up in the corner and just bounce off the rail, minimal cue ball movement, and you're right on your key ball in the side pocket. That's one possibility. What I noticed, though, is I'd rather shoot the 8 ball in this pocket. There's only one ball, aside from one of these, there's only one ball that's really above the 8, and that's this 9 ball. And the 9 ball, believe it or not, is a good K2 ball, because if I get straight in on the 9, I can just draw back. If I get an angle to go to the head rail, I can go like this, or I can go 2 rails. And if I get the other angle, I can bounce off this side rail. And all of those positional routes are very easy and controllable to get the cue ball right here, which is where I want it to shoot that 8. And it's for that reason that I decide that this is my K2 ball. Okay, so if that's the K2 ball, now all this thought process is a process of elimination. So this is my break ball. One of these is the key ball. This is K2, this is K3. Guess what? I only have 4 balls left, and I got an easy shot on one of them to start. So this simplifies the rack, and it gives you a purpose, a plan of attack, so you can put other thoughts out of your mind. Doubts are gone from your mind. You know exactly how to proceed. Now, so that's the decision I'm making. That's the thought process. That's literally the exact thought process that is going through this mind right here, this brain, right while I'm standing here looking at the table. I'm planning all that out. So what I decide finally is I'm looking at the angle right now because I want to shoot this ball, this stripe, but I don't need two key balls, and I'm very straight on the 3. So I just looked at my angle to shoot the 3 and get on this stripe, because what I want to do now is just bump the 4 ball. Notice minimal cue ball movement. Let's look at the route that my cue ball is going to take. It went from here to the 3 and then back here. I'm going to make the 15. I'm going to bump the 4. Now from there, I might just shoot the 4 and then shoot the 6, or I might shoot the 6 and shoot the 4. Either way, my cue ball's not traveling far, it's not touching a rail, and then I just want to come down here for the 7 ball. Now, after I shoot the 7, the cue ball's going to travel a little bit, but the whole table is clear to get up on that 9. So can you see how that is a pretty simple route? And if someone sees a better route, let me know. There could be a better one, but I really like this one. It's pretty simple. Now, as it so happens, I was successful in nudging the 4 ball pretty much straight at the side pocket. But let's say the 4 ball ended up here. All I got to do is shoot the 6, bounce off the rail, and come up here. Now I'm on my 6. Now I'm on the 4, and I have an easy route to get on the 7. Had I knocked the 4 ball up here, it would have been harder, but I wasn't going to do that. It was going to either go this way or this way. So, real controllable pattern, in my opinion. This is how much simpler can you get of a shot? It's not like I'm having to draw the cue ball 2 rails or play some good speed control. Just tap the 4 on the side and you're on the 6. Done. Easy. Same thing with the 6. How hard is this positional route? Think you can handle that? Tap it in. The hardest shot of the entire end pattern is this one, the 7 ball. What you don't want to do, it can be very tempting to say, oh, I'm just going to bounce the cue ball off the rail and just come up here and I'll be on the 13, or I'm sorry, on the 9 ball. Please don't do that, because you're going to miss hit it some percentage of the time, and the cue ball is going to come up here and freeze behind the 15. And some other percentage of the time, the cue ball is going to come over here and go right in the side pocket, or it's going to stop right here, and now you've got a backwards angle into either corner pocket, and you can't get on the 8. This is a 9 ball positional route, and it's very appropriate here. 2 rails, bottom rail, side rail. That way your cue ball is never going near a pocket. It's never going near another ball. Once the cue ball comes off this rail, I've got that angle. Here's straight in, and here's probably the extreme of where I want to be. I'm always going to land in this positional zone. Slow down there, Bob. And so I'm always going to have the right angle on this 9 ball. Had the cue ball ended up thinner, say here, then I think I would have a higher positional route of going 2 rails to get on the 8. But as it is, where I'm at, 1 rail is the right direction to go, because once the cue ball leaves the rail here, I'm heading straight at the 8. So my cue ball can stop here, here, here. It doesn't matter. And then now, again, simple positional route. Just bounce off the rail. It can't go wrong. It can hardly go wrong. So the lesson of this rack of the week is, when the rack is solved and you're on your end pattern, be specific, especially when there's more than 4 or 5 balls. When there's 4 or 5, you got to be real specific. But there, like I said, there was a lot of routes to get through that. But don't just rely on your ability to come up with something. Make some firm decisions and be more specific. And then you're going to have a much higher percentage chance of having an easy route for the last 3 and 4 balls and get right on your break shot, which is what happened there. Okay, now, very important, notice what I did. I racked the balls, took the rack away, and then noticed something. And then I brought the rack back. You make sure you get a tight rack, very important. I put 2 cue balls in this pocket because these old gold crowns, at least this one, has a small pocket. It only holds like 7 balls. When your break shot is at a 45-degree angle to the pocket, and especially when you have an outside angle, I'm going to have to hit this really hard, and that break ball can bounce out of the pocket. Anyway, same thing here. Maybe a bit more draw. Yeah, good thing I put some draw on that. We know the cue ball is going to go to the side rail, but if you notice, the cue ball was heading for a scratch, and then it curved away from the scratch. That's what your break shots are going to do. Either your draw or follow is going to make that cue ball curve away from the corner pocket and hit the side rail or bottom rail and keep it safe. Good result on this break shot, and I'm in business, and the run keeps going. Thanks for watching. See you next week.